morning everyone. So in the last class we are trying to discuss with our string constructors here. So we identified different types of constructors here. So today we are going to see one important concept here. The concept here, string literals here. So basically string literals here, how exactly it's going to work. So we are going to understand here. So what exactly the literal concept here? So previously how we are working here? We are trying to create an object with the help of this particular string s1 is equals to new string 1. With the help of this particular constructor, we are going to create an object here. Getting the point? So along with that, now what we can do with the help of this particular concept called literals. So this section of code we are going to call it as a string literal concepts here. With the help of this particular string literals here, we'll try to create an object of this particular string class here. So once we create this particular object, and we can access what are the information we are going to access from the object creation with help of the constructor. So same way, all the operations we can perform with help of this particular literal concepts here. Getting the point? So this is another way to create a object of this particular string class here. This is the another way to create a object of this particular class called string here. Okay. Now what you need to understand here. So once this particular concept is completed, literal concept here, we need to go for the methods here. So in that method, we identified one method called length method. So what exactly this particular length method is doing? So it is trying to provide the how many characters stored in the particular string here. Getting the point? So to find out the characters here, now what we can do? We can call the length method. So it will try to return the how many characters is stored inside this particular string class. So this is the purpose of this particular length method. This is the purpose of this particular length method here. Okay. So along with that, now what we can understand here, and here concatenation with other data types here. Getting the point? So how this concatenation is going to work? Getting the point? So this is very important. We need to understand here the string concatenation here. So if you understand here, concatenation is nothing but when we are having two strings here, so we are going to append the two strings here. So the previous example we already identified. So most of the time we'll try to work with the println method. Getting the point? So if you see inside this particular println method, now we'll try to connect with our two data types, or we are going to connect with our single data type here. So observe here. So this is a string data type because we are defining within the double quotes here. Getting the point? We are trying to define the data within the double quotes here. Within the double quote, this section of code we are going to call it as a string. Now observe. So how we can define here? So he is 9 years old. So this particular message we are trying to write within the double quotes, so that what we can understand here, this entire code, it is a string here. It is a string message. Now you can observe the same message. If I'm going to define the same message, I'm trying to write like this here. This particular same message, I'm trying to write like this. String s1 is equals to. So here I want to define 9. I want to define 9, and so string m2 is equals to, observe here. So he is, so instead of Now observe here how the message I'm trying to concatenate here. So this is very important. We need to understand here. Carrying the point. So this section of code we need to understand very carefully here. Observe 9 is a one string here. Carrying the point. 9 is a one string. And we define one more string here. So that is called M2. So here inside this particular M2, what I'm doing here, I'm defining one more string here and here appending, carrying the point. Here I'm trying to append. So this particular message we are trying to append here. After appending here, again I'm trying to write the string message. So entire section code, carrying the point. So this particular entire message is treating as our string object here. Carrying the point. So this entire message is treating as our string code here. Now what we can do here, so this is we need to understand here this particular 9 we are trying to append within this particular string message here, within this particular string message. So this is very important. We need to understand here how this particular message is going to concatenate here. And here if I'm going to print here M2, so if I'm going to print this particular M2 here, so how this particular message is going to print. Now you can see, so he is 9 years old. Cutting the point. So he is 9 years old. So to get some between the space here, now what we can do? We need to make the concatenation perfectly with some spaces here. So here I given some space. Here also I given some space. So that here we are going to get to between the each word here, we are going to get a space here. Cutting the point. So this is the way we can concat this particular string object here. So this is very important. We need to understand here. Getting the point. This is very important how we are going to concat the two strings here. Because M1 is a one string and here M2 also another string here. But here what we are doing is in between we are trying to append our M1 string information inside in between M2 here. Getting the point. So this is one string here. Now so what we need to understand here, we need to go for the another example here. So regarding this particular same concatenation, I want to provide one more example here. So let me go for this particular one more class. String test1 here. Okay. So here, inside this particular string test1 here, now what I am trying to write here, one more string I am trying to define here. Cutting the point. So longest here. So it will contain long messages here. What is a message we can define here? Basically, I want to provide the more information like how whenever we are having a long message, so how we are going to concatenate here. Observe here. So this could have been up to this one message. Getting the point. So this is one message here. And after this, now what I'm trying to write here? Here if you observe, one more message I'm trying to append here. So some message I'm trying to write here. Okay, up to this enough here. Now you can see how we are appending here. Whenever we are having more than one line here, so here we are trying to add with place condition, and after place again we are trying to define the message. After place again we are trying to define the message here. Getting the point. So this is very important. We need to understand here when we are having more than one line here, how we can work for the this particular concatenation here. So this is the way we can go for the concatenation here. Long str. So this particular long str, now what we can do, so we can run as a Java application. Now you can understand here. So this is the message we are getting here. So the println message we are trying to work for the print in a one line here. So we can print in a one line here. So this is the message we are going to print. Getting the point. So this is all about the concatenation here. So this is all about the concatenation here. And now, so this particular message and this particular message. So this line of statement is also string, and this particular line of statement is also string. So whenever we are inside this particular, both are in the same like data type here, we can define. But now my question here, when we are having different data type here, when we are having the different data type, so how we can go for the concatenation here. So observe here, when we are having different data type here, so we need to understand very carefully here. So this section of code we identified when we are having only same data type here. Now I'm trying to work for the another data type. So int age is equals to 9, and so I want to define here string str is equals to, so e is, now observe how I'm trying to write here. So this is the way we can define the message here. So now you can understand here. So this particular message is a string, and in between we are appending with the int data type, and after this again we are trying to append with our string data type here. Again we are trying to append with our string data type here. Cutting the point. So these are the two data types here. So these are the two data types we are trying to append here. Getting the point. So two data types we are trying to append here. Now, so we need to understand very carefully here. So how this particular concatenation is going to work. And if I'm going to print here str, if I'm going to print this particular str, now you can understand here. So this is 9 years old. The 9 we define as a int data type, but we are trying to work for the concatenation. So string with a string data type here. Cutting the point. So this is also one more way to work for the two data type here. And observe here, if I'm going to write here one more example, I want to define here. So string str1 is equal to, so this is very important here. 4 I am trying to append here. Now you can see 4 plus 2 plus 2. Getting the point. So 4 plus 2 plus 2. So the expected output here we are expecting here 4 here. Getting the point. Because we are trying to perform 2 plus 2 operation here. So it is a in between we are trying to work for the addition operation. So now whenever we are trying to work like this here, observe here. So what is the output we are going to get? str1. Getting the point. So here we need to focus here str1, how this particular str1 is going to print here. So basically we are expecting here, so 4 colon 4 output here. But we'll see, so what is the output we are going to get. Now you can see here we are getting 22. Getting the point. So here we are getting 22 here. But here, so even though we use the addition operation here, but we are not getting the expected output here. Getting the point. Even though if we use this particular addition operator, but we are not getting the expected output here. Getting the point. Now what we can do? Getting the point. So basically, I want to get here the 4 output here, not a 22 here. Getting the point. So to get this particular output here, now we need to define like this. We need to define like this here. So whenever we are trying to define like this, so we are going to get the particular expected output here. Now you can see 4 we are getting here. Now we are getting 4 output here. Right. So this is very important here. Basically, so whenever we are not providing this particular braces here, what happens internally? So whatever the value we are having, so both the values are going to appended here. Right. So when we are trying to work for the braces concepts here, it's going to take high priority here. So high priority is nothing but first it will take the priority, and later it's going to work for the concatenation here. Getting the point. So it's going to work for the concatenation here. So this is all about the concatenation. So this is very important. We need to understand here. And now we need to go for the two-string method. So this particular two-string method we already discussed in the previous classes here, because the two-string method is a object class two-string method. So in some classes the two-string method is overridden here. Right. So now we need to check for whether the two-string is overridden in our string class or not. Now you can see it is overridden here. So this is trying to return the current object here. Right. So current object here. So what is the current object? It will return here. Whatever the object we are going to return, the current object, the particular message is going to return here. Getting the point. Now to work for the two-string, we already identified in the previous example here. Maybe where we implemented two-string concepts here. Okay, so we'll try to write for the one more example here for this particular two-string concept here. Now we'll go for the same box. So whatever the blocks we created in the previous example here, and now observe here. So here W height and double depth data. Getting the point. Now I want to work for the constructor here. So what is a constructor I want to create here? So which is going to take 3 parameters here. So W is equals to width is equals to W, height is equals to H, and depth is equals to D. Getting the point. So this is the constructor, and now observe here, I'm trying to define two string here. I'm trying to override here. Getting the point. So we already identified in the string class here two string method. Now you can see this is a two string method. So they are trying to return the current object here. But now what I'm trying to write here, I'm trying to define two string here. Now you can see this particular message. So you can define inside this particular brace. Now so dimensions, carrying the point. Dimensions are so this is a message I want to define here. So width variable, and here one more string here, and height here, so depth here, close. Carrying the point. So this is the way we can work for the two string here. But here now you need to understand very carefully here. You need to understand very carefully here, because this is the string here. So this particular double quotes open here, and double quotes end with here. Getting the point. And after this, between, so whatever the message we are defining, we already identified here. So it is a literal concept, string literal concept here. Now, what you are understanding here? Here we are trying to work for the string object, and here we are defining, we are trying to concat with our double data type and another string here. Getting the point. So here again we are trying to make another string here, and height here. Right, height is our double data type here. So finally, again we are making by. So by is a string data type here, and depth here. Depth is again it is a double data type here. So using the double data type and string data type here, we are trying to concat the our two string method here. Our two string method here. So this is very important. We need to understand here how this particular we can override this two string method with help of this particular string with other data type concatenation here. Okay, now if I'm going to create this particular object here, so we can understand here how it's going to work here. How exactly which is going to work here. Okay, observe here, to create this particular object here, now what we can do, inside this particular main method, now I'm trying to create we need to provide the values here. So 10.0 comma 25.0 and 78.0. So these are the double data type value with height and depth here. Right. Now finally, now what I'm trying to write here. So I'm going to call this particular box here. So simply I'm trying to print this particular box. Getting the observe here, I'm trying to print this particular box message here. whenever we are trying to print this particular box message, so we need to focus here. What is the message we are going to get here? Observe here. Okay. Now, so try to understand here. Again, I'm trying to run one more time here. So this is a message we are getting here. Open brace and close brace here. So between the some messages here. So dimensions are 10.0 by 25.0 and 78. So these are values we given from here. This particular box constructor. Getting the point. So from this particular box constructor, we provided the particular value here. The same value we are trying to print here. The same value we are trying to print here. So this is very important here. So how we can override the toString method and what is the way we are expecting to print to this particular object messages. So same way we can implement the toString method. So basically, whenever you are calling here this particular println method, so by default it will call the toString method. By default, it will call the toString method. If this particular toString method is not available here, observe carefully. If this particular toString method is not available, so you may get different message here. Getting the point. So this is a message we are getting here. So why this particular message is coming here? Because now to understand this particular message, we need to go for the object class here. So inside this particular object class, toString here. So now you can read here up to this get class get name. Getting the point. Get class get name. This is the message we are getting, and after this at the rate. Now you can see again we are getting here at the rate symbol, and this is our hash code here. This is the hash code here. The particular object hash code we are getting here. Getting the point. This is the toString method is overridden in our in our object class here. Getting the point. So if I'm going to override in our specific class here, this particular toString method is not going to call. This particular toString method is not going to call here. So this is the main purpose of this particular toString method. So we can override the object message here. We can override the object message, so which we are getting the default one from the object class here. But here the aim, so what we need to understand here, how we are going to concat with the string with the other data type. So to override the toString method here. To override this particular toString method here. Getting the point. So this is very important section we need to understand regarding this particular toString here. Now observe the toString method is called from our box class here. Getting the point. So this is very important here. Okay. Now the another method we need to understand here. So as of now we identified only the length method. So now we need to check for the character related methods here. So what are the character related methods we are having here? The first method we are having char at method. Getting the point. Char at method. So let's see inside this particular string test class we can understand how this particular char at method is going to work. Observe here. So if I'm going to print caret method. Now you can see caret method. So this particular caret method, so it is expecting int as a parameter. Getting the point. So the caret method is expecting int as a parameter, and it is trying to return carrier. It's trying to return carrier. Getting the point. So this is very important. We need to understand here. So here I want to provide 0. Here I want to provide 0. So observe carefully what is the last output we are going to get. If I'm going to print this particular object here, so the 0 index, what is the character we are having? What is the character we are having? F. Getting the point. Now you can see the character we are having F here. So between these, we are having the F character here. So if I want to print the last character here, now what we can do? Simply, we can define like this. Simply, we can define like this here. str1 dot length minus 1. Length minus 1 here. Now understand here, if I am going to print this particular length minus 1, so 4. Getting the point. So 4 we are getting. Why we are getting the 4? Because we are trying to do some addition operation here, and after doing the addition operation, getting the point. After doing the addition operation, we are trying to load the last character. So that is we are going to get as a 4 here. Getting the point. So this is all about the caret method to find out the character which is resides in the particular given location. Given location. So for example, now what I want to write here, I don't want to define the minus 1 here. I don't want to define the minus 1. Now you can see here we are getting an exception. Here we are getting an exception here. So this is very important exception we need to understand here. So basically, so the length we are having 7 here. Getting the point. But we don't have these many characters in the given string here. So this is very important here. We don't have the given characters in the given string here. So now what we can do? First we need to check the proper range. So then only getting the point. First we need to check the particular range of the characters. How many characters are stored inside this particular string. Right. So after this only we can provide the index values here. So this is very important whenever we are trying to work for the caret method here. And the same way, get char method. Getting the point. So get char method. So let's see how this particular get char method is going to work. Get char method. Now you can read here. So get char method is expecting 4 parameters. Getting the point. Get char method is expecting 4 parameters here. So how this particular 4 parameters are going to work? How this particular 4 parameters are going to work here. So here inside this particular parameters here, so what is these two here? Let me open this. So this is the source begin, getting the point, and source element, right? So destination string, sorry, destination char array, and destination begin, and yes, destination begin, only 4. Observe here. So here we need to understand here source begin and source end. So between our source string object, so we need to specify from the which index onwards we need to start, and from the which index we need to stop here. So this is the source begin, source end, and we need to specify the char array, because after copying the character, it will store into this particular destination char array, and here we need to specify from the which index onwards this particular element to be stored here, from the 0 index or first index or second index. So what is the index we are expecting? So that we can specify here. That we can specify here. So this is very important to get char method here. Carrying the point. So this is very important, the particular get char method here. Now understand here, so how exactly we can define this particular get char method. So here I want to define as a string. So string s is equals to so this is demo get chars method. Getting the point. So this is a string I'm defining, and enter start from the 10 index into end is equals to 4 here. So this is the targeted char array. Getting the point. Now what I'm doing right here, I'm trying to create this particular size here. End minus start. End minus start here. So this is the size I'm trying to create here. Okay, now we understand here. So how exactly the get char method is expecting 4 parameters. So that we are going to call s dot get char here. So source begin, start, source and here we need to provide the and final one I want to provide 0. So careful observe. So how we are trying to work here. So the starting here we are providing as a 10. So it's going to end with our 14, and this is the char array we are creating here. So it's going to start from the 0. And now if I'm going to print here this particular buffer char object here, char array, buffer char array. So what are the characters are stored in between, we are going to understand here. Getting the point. So what are the characters are stored here. So understand here, based on this particular current object here. Based on this particular current object here, so it's going to check for the 10 index here. So the 10 index, now we can read here. So this is 4. The space will become 5. And I6 S7 again space 8, so D9 and E10. Getting the point. So E10 here. Getting the point. After 10 here, so we are trying to load M and O. The space we are trying to load. Again O. So because we given the size, we are having only 4 here. Getting the point. The size we given 4 only here. So this is very important here. So how much size we are giving here? The same size we need to specify. If you observe here, if we are going to give as a 20, the size we are having, this particular buffer char size, char array 4, but the end I am giving as a 20. So now you can see what happens internally. We are getting an exception. Here. So the count we are having 10 and length we are having 4 here. So now what you understand here, you can see internally in the last constructor we already identified here how the particular constructors are called in the yesterday class. The same the internal methods are going to call here. Getting the point. Even though whenever we are calling this particular get char here, internally, what happens internally? So whatever the methods we identified in the last class, those methods are going to call here. But here, the start and end we need to provide same here. So this is very important. We need to understand here. Now we can see we are getting the output here. So we are not getting any exception here because the size and the start element and end element we provided correct elements here. Getting the point. So this is the simple example on the get carrier. So same way we are going to have get bytes here. We are going to have get bytes here. Getting the point. So instead of this particular char array, now what we can do, we can define the byte array. End minus start here. And start and so the size and 0. If I'm going to print this particular BU, we can understand here. So this particular byte array, it will return the numbers here. Okay. So this particular object is printing here. So to print this, now what we can do? We need to repeat the loop here. Observe how the values are going to print here. Now you can see 109,111, 32,111. So getting the point, 109,111, 32,111. So these are the four values we are getting here. Getting the point. So these are the four values here. So these are the four. But what is the size we given? The size we given as a end minus start. So start we given as a 10, the end we given as a 14. So between we are having only 4. The 4 we are trying to print here. The 4 we are trying to store the element and we are printing. So this is the get byte. Getting the point. Basically this is removed from the so 1.1 onwards it is removed here. So we don't want to discuss about this particular method because it is deprecated here. So I thought it is removed from the 9 version, but it is removed from the 1.2 onwards here. Okay, but just for fun, I'm explaining it. Get that method, so get byte method, right? So same way, two char array. Getting the point. So two char array method. How this particular two char array method is going to work? Getting the point. This is the string. Getting the point. This particular S contains the string object here. This particular S contains the string object here. Now what we can do? So what we can do? So using this particular S here, now what I'm trying to write here, how we can work for the two char array method. So first we'll see what is doing two char array method. So two char array. This particular two char array method is trying to return char array here. Getting the point. So it's trying to return two char array. So they're checking. So they're checking the type here. So this object is stored in the Latin format or UTF format here. So the state is going to store some format here. So if it is a Latin format, so from this particular is going to convert the char values. So otherwise it will try to convert the value using this particular UTF format. So if you know, this is the ternary operator. So this is the ternary operator we already identified in the previous example. So based on this particular ternary operators, these exams are implemented here. This particular two-carrier array is implemented. Okay. Now we want to understand what exactly the two-carrier is going to work internally. But getting the point. So S dot two-carrier array. Getting the point. S dot two-carrier array. So we already identified here the two-carrier is going to return the char here. Getting the point. So char ch is equals to ch colon I'm calling two-char array. Getting the point. Now I will try to print this particular ch here. Basically identified here two-char array. It's trying to return the char array. It's not a one character. So it's trying to return the multiple characters. So whenever we are getting the multiple characters, we can print those characters here. We can print those characters here. And so using this particular system.out.println, I am trying to print so one by one here. Now you can see, so these are the characters we are having inside this given string here. Getting the right. If you want to convert the character, so this is the method we can go for to convert the characters here. Let me give each space now you can see, so these are the characters here. So these are the characters we are getting here. Right. So if I'm removing this particular space here, now you can understand here, so how these particular characters are going to print. Observe here how we given the input here. So this is the demo of the getChar method, and the same way this is the demo of the getChar method. The same thing, the same expected output we are printing here, but only the difference here, we converted into the char. From the char, we are trying to repeat the loop multiple times. So with the help of this particular for each loop, we are printing one by one character. One by one character. Carrying the point. So this is the way we can define the getChar method, and we are having compare methods here. So the compare methods here equals and equal ignore case. So we are going to have the difference between equals and equal ignore case. So here we need to check for the equals method is going to check for the uppercase and lowercase. Carrying the point. If the given string is in the uppercase and the lowercase, so the opposite string it needs to match here. Carrying the point. And another string equal ignore case, so it's ignore the case sensitive. The given object is same or not is going to check here. The given object is same or not is going to check here. So if you observe, the given string here, S1 is equals to hello, and S2 also I'm making here hello, and S3 is equals to good boy, and S4 is equals to hello. Getting the point. So these are the four strings we created. These are the four strings we created. So these are the very important strings, so we need to understand here. So once we created this particular four objects, string objects here, now I'm trying to find out the system.out.println here. S1 equals to S2. Getting the point. So S1 equals to S2 here. S1 dot equals to S2. Getting the point. So this is the way we can go for the object creation and printing the statements here. And so S1 equals to the second one. I can go for the S3. I can go for the S3 here. And so S3 and S1 both are equal or not is going to provide. And another one here we need to understand here. So S1 equals to S4. S1 equals to S4. So finally, this is we need to understand here equal ignore case. S1 equal ignore case S4. S1 equal ignore case S4 here. So here we need to focus very carefully here. So these are the objects here equals method. So S1 is checking with S2 and same way S1 is checking with S3 and same S1 is checking with our S4 here. S1 is checking with our S4 and the final one we are having equals ignore case. So basically we need to focus more onto the equal ignore case and equals method. The difference between these two here. The difference between these two here. So equals method is going to check both the objects are equal and internally is going to check for the case sensitive also, whether if it is in the uppercase, if the S1 is in the uppercase, S2 also in the uppercase, and S1 and S2 objects both are the same. So then only it will return true, otherwise it will return false, because these two are the Boolean data types here. These two are going to return the Boolean data types here. Getting the point. And I'm going to run this particular example. Now we'll understand here how these particular values are going to print. Now you can see, okay, here, so I will try to run one more time because we did not given the space here. So this is expecting. Now observe, the S1 is hello and is equals to hello, because S2 also hello. So it's returning true. And S1 is our hello object is equals to good boy. So it is returning false. Getting the point. And now you can see, so both are same here, hello and hello. But only the difference is case sensitive. This is in the uppercase, this is in the first character is uppercase, the remaining are in the lowercase here. Getting the point. Whenever we are defining like this here, so this particular equals method is returning false here. But the same thing, now we can see equal ignore case method is returning true. So even though if it is in the uppercase and S1 object is in the lowercase, still we are getting true. So this is the way we can work for the equals method and equals ignore method. Getting the point? Equals method and equals ignore method. So any questions regarding this particular equals and equals ignore method? So as well as, so what we discussed so far, the remaining method here, 2char array and so caret method, because these three are the most important method what we are trying to discuss here. So if anyone having any questions, please let me know. Okay. So the caret method, basically here, this particular caret method, it will try to return the like the return type of this particular caret method is a char, and which is expecting the parameter into parameter. So when it is expecting into parameter here, so now what we need to understand here. So what if you are trying to providing here as a integer parameter, it is taking as a index value. Getting the point? It is taking as a index value. So this is the str1 is our string here. So based on this particular string object here, we are trying to call caret method, and inside this particular caret method, we are providing the index number. So here, once we specify the index number here, we'll try to find out the character, so which is located in the given index. So which is located in our given index here. Getting the point? So the simple example we identified here, let me copy this here. If I'm going to print like this here, so instead of str length here, if I'm going to provide 0, so what is a 0 index here? F is going to print. Getting the point? So in the 0 index location, the character F is available. Right, the F is printing here. So same way, if I'm going to provide 1, if I'm going to provide 1, it will print O. So because this particular O is defined in the first location, I want to print to fourth location. Now you can see the fourth location we given as a space here. Sorry, okay. So quotes here. After the quote, so sorry, in the fifth location maybe. So it's located like the space is defined here. Now you can see if I'm going to give as a fifth here, we cannot understand here what is our output here. So now you can read here, it is a space here. Getting the point? The space we are getting here. If I'm trying to clear this particular console here, now you can see. So if I'm trying to copy here, getting the point, I'm trying to select here, it is not selecting here. So the space is printed here. Getting the point? So this is the way we can print this particular caret method. Right. So this, so it is not ignoring here. After the space here, it will try to print here this section of code. If I'm going to print the sixth character, the sixth index location, the number 4 we are getting here. Right. So this is all about the string information. So tomorrow we'll try to discuss about string builder and string buffer classes here. Right. Basically, I will try to provide some methods information. What are the methods we are having in our string builder and string buffer classes? So after completion of these string classes here, we'll try to start our collection framework here. The pending classes are collection frameworks here. So once the collection frameworks are completed, we'll move on to the string related concepts here. So any questions so far what we discussed here? Yeah, you can.
So, actually, I
Yes.
wanted to ask, when are you free? Are you free this weekend?
Okay, just
For
mention me, I will let you.
AWS.
Yeah, that is I'm going to cover like once we completed, maybe in 15, 20 days we will start. Once the Spring concepts are completed, so I'm going to start the AWS concepts here. Don't worry.
Mm. Actually, I even have in my work, there are few things which I want to understand. Is it possible for you to give it around half an hour, 45 minutes, any
Yeah, we will
weekend?
see. Yeah, we will connect at weekend, like your morning timing. We'll see like what your issue are having.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So if we don't have anything, we'll continue. So I unmuted everyone. So in the spring, we are going to cover all the concepts except to the particular AOP. So remaining all the concepts we are going to discuss here, like a core module and a MVC module, transactions, security, and REST APIs. So everything we are going to come covered in our spring month. So most I'm expecting in the 1 month I'm trying to complete. So maybe so we'll see. Maybe it's going to extend 1 2 days. So you can expect 1 month. Okay. So we'll continue tomorrow.